Lenty2000, what's happening, buddy? It's Cam3XL. I love your question. It's real close to the question I asked on my sub contest, which I didn't answer there yet, but it's important enough to get to here. And I remember back in the '80s, used to listen to Public Enemy questions always. Do you know what time it is? And the root of the question was, are you aware of what's going on? Do you know what time it is? Do you know what's really happening? When it comes to this prepping thing, though, as critical as as things are right now, you can't really come out and ask people that question. I mean, you can feel people out, and you'll eventually get there. But for the people that have responded so far, that are that basically feel the way around, you plant a couple of seeds, you see where it goes. That is a much safer way to do this. I'm definitely a network guy. I don't want to be trying to stay awake 4 and 5 days straight, with house alarms going off in the distance, and, police having much bigger things to deal with than somebody's trying to get in my house right now. I'm sitting loaded for bear and, trying to cover 3 different doors in my house. Not for any length of time. If we're going to be in the soup for, a couple of months, a good night's sleep is a blessed thing. I need somebody to watch my back while I get a night's sleep. I need to let somebody else get a good night's sleep while I watch their back. Time away, you can't stay trapped in a house with, all your kids forever. You got to know that, you and your wife can spend a half hour, 45 minutes going for a walk somewhere, or, just getting a break from being in a crowded, loud house all the time, and somebody's trustworthy enough to, watch your kids and protect them with their own lives until you get back in the door. It's, I know how much work it takes for me to deal with my little garden plots out here on my own. And I can spend an afternoon, 2 afternoons, and, be wiped out after a weekend, sore back and kind of worn out. And I'm not producing that much food. I mean, to produce what we'd really need to in that situation, there needs to be, a minimum of 3 or 4 of us working. Not just my family, but, maybe 2 families, to really get at it well. Nobody should come to the door empty-handed. If you're going to partner with somebody, your skill sets and your resources to complement each other. But the question always begs, are you better together than you are separately? Do you have something to offer somebody else? Do you have a way of improving their situation that would make them want to improve your situation? And as long as people are playing by those rules, there is no substitute for numbers. Now, logistically, it gets a little hard. I happen to be in a good spot. I'm in a pretty secluded neighborhood. I'm sort of a dead end off of a dead end. We're kind of one way in, one way out. I'm backed up by a huge federal installation that, if anything ever happened, what few resources we do have in the area would definitely be there locking that place down. But interestingly enough, I got a bunch of ex-cops and ex-military people who live in the neighborhood. Out of the 9 or 10 houses that are on my street, probably 6 of us are armed as we speak. And we know each other. We know each other's patterns. We see each other pull in and out. We look out for each other's houses. So it's nothing for us to meet in the middle of the street during the summer, chit-chat, walk the dogs, watch the kids for a second, and pass information around. A buddy of mine up the streets got a little radio he turns on when, if we ever have little problems, storms go on. The power went out the other night. He had his radio on. I caught him online. That kind of stuff's invaluable. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I can imagine the fear that would set in if you really felt like it was just you against the world, or just you and your wife and your children, and the screaming hordes outside waiting to happen to you. I could never get peace of mind that way. The camaraderie and the connection you make to people, especially even in foxholes, is priceless. So that being said, I think the answer is networking. I think the answer is as many people as you possibly can. How do you do that? It's a little different. What I'm finding that works is there are certain hobbies and activities that are common in this community. They're fishermen. They're hunters. There are guys that you meet and you hang out with at the range. You shoot together with. There are people that participate in different parts of this lifestyle, and they're a much easier crowd to approach. It's much easier for me to sit at the range with a guy who's got 3 or 4 pieces laying on the counter, and while we're going through 4 boxes of ammo, I can talk to him about why the different weapons, what they're for, what his plans are, how he keeps them secure, how who else in his house shoots. Those are common questions we ask when we're on the range. You're sure to find some like-minded people there. If you're out at Bass Pro, you're out at Cabela's, there are certain areas of that store, you stand in the reloading section. You'll strike up a couple of conversations with the people that are doing more than, just tucking a Saturday night special underneath the bed in a shoebox. I found that Home Depot isn't always the greatest place to go get my gardening supplies. I got a feed store not far from here. When a guy walks out the door with a 22-pound bag of vermiculite, or he's got half a skid of lobster compost, you're talking to somebody who's not only probably self-sufficient, but he's probably got a couple of skills you can get your hands around as well. There are guys out there buying materials for chicken coops, that sort of thing. Put yourself where you want to be. It's the same thing. And I tell these 2 young ladies that work with me regularly. They're trying to, Beck, where can we find the great and where can we find the nice guys? And I'm like, you need to go do the things that you would like to do with the right guy, and he'll be there hanging out. That's where the match will be made. So, spend some time at the range, spend some time at the feed store, camping, hunting, fishing. We do a lot of pier fishing out here in the Chesapeake Bay. You're standing next to people for hours at a time. You strike up conversations. You can tell who's, fishing for sport and who's fishing for food. And you can tell how, organized their tackle boxes are, what kind of bait they're running, whether, what tricks they have up their sleeve, little things like how do they keep bait cool, how are they maintaining their catch once they have it there, the tricks that people have learned over the years. And it makes easy entrance for conversations. And you already know you share some passions. So I think if we all walk that line and, we kind of talk amongst ourselves there, I tend to stay away from the politics. It's too easy to be pro or anti anything. And there's a lot of people with a lot of rhetoric talking a lot of crap. Half of them are talking out their ass. But when you can see a man put his hands on something and actually perform a function, you're dealing with a whole different beast. This is going on long enough, but I think you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. Dude, you know the routine. We're right on the Mason-Dixon line. Things get hot up north. You're down this way. You're part of the network. You and yours are here. We'll figure it out. Till then, keep your head up. Stay frosty. Camp 3XL out.